Alright, let's hope this works. This is the third time recording. The first time, I didn't realize my audio cut off halfway. Second time, audio didn't work at all. So, third time, I'm making sure this green little light stays on so you can hear what I am saying and I don't keep just talking and not have any words come out. So, this is me attempting for the first time to try to find my first 5-star book of 2026. I had it where last year in the first couple weeks of January, and we're about 3 weeks in, I had already gotten my first 5-star read with Throne of the Secret by Carrie Maniscalco. And I loved that book, and it was great, and I wanted more, and more. And so I want to try and see if I can get my first 5-star read here soon. It's a little hard for me to get 5-star reads because I don't exactly have like a standard. I've been getting a lot more pickier, I feel, because there's some books where it's just so hard to be like, it's a 5-star, because then after a minute, I'll be thinking about it and I'll change my mind. So I'm hoping this won't take too long and then I won't be as, I guess, particular about what I want to give a 5-star read, but also still kind of, because I don't want to just be like giving 5 stars here and there. So we will see. But I have a couple of books that I've picked out for this video to see about how I feel. I'm trying to get different genres as well, so that, again, one of my goals was to pick different genres and read different genres and authors. So that's what I kind of want to also still do, is kind of branch away from the same genres, and maybe that'll help me get a 5-star as well. So the first book, though, that I'm going to go with is a tried and true young adult fantasy sci-fi book. So I've heard a lot of things about this Dance of Thieves duology. This is the first book. All I really know is that, again, it's a YA book, so it's young adult. It's fantasy. That's all I really know. Obviously, I think there's thieves involved and stuff like that. I have read the summary so many times already, you guys. But there's a thief, there's a leader, there's guards and stuff, and they're in a kingdom. And, you know, they're going to have to determine whether to fight for love or fight for, like, power and stuff. And so I'm really curious how this is going to go and stuff, and see how it is. I've always kept picking it up in the library and never reading it, so I think this would be a perfect one to try and read and see if I like it, and if not, like I said, we have a few other options to go with. So I will keep you guys updated as I read how I'm feeling about this book, and if I feel like it's leaning towards a 5-star. So I'll see you guys then. Alright guys, so I wanted to give a quick update. It's been a couple of days, I think. I'm not even exactly sure when I started this, but it's been a couple days since I've started Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. And I am roughly almost 100 pages. I'm at like 92 or 93. I don't know what chapter, I didn't look. And basically I'm not feeling yet that this is yet close to a 5-star, but I think that's because I'm still confused about what is going on. So this book is following two different perspectives, Cassie and Jace. Cassie, from what I've gathered, is an orphan who was kind of a street rat who stole, and then one time she saw the queen and like spit at her, and then all of a sudden the queen took her in and made her a part of her guard and stuff. So she still is like doing stuff to where she's still like a thief and stuff, but she's doing it now in a professional manner, I guess. And her and a group of the other guards went out on a mission, and then they split up, and her and a couple of the other guards went to this place called Hell's Mouth, I think it was called, or Hell's Month, something like that. There's the word hell in it. And they're supposed to go there. They're looking for someone, I think, that like was part of this war who was like a bad guy, but I'm not sure. That's the part I'm confused about. Is like, she's saying that they have a mission, but she also has like a side mission that no one knows about, that the queen specifically asked her to do. So I don't know exactly. But then there's Jace. He is the person who his father had just died, and he got named kind of like the next leader of the place. And he's not the oldest, he's just the one that the dad picked. And so he got picked to be the leader, and not even one day after that happened, him and the girl Cassie run into each other. She doesn't know because she's thinking that his dad is still in charge. She says some stuff, pisses him off. He goes to go in an alley, knowing she's gonna follow him, and she does. And then they both get caught by these hunters, bounty hunters that are looking for people to do work. And then they get chained together, thrown in a cart, and then they escape the cart, but they're still chained together. And he's trying to get back because he's trying to make sure his home is not weak, but she's trying to look for information or find someone. And so that's where we're at right now, and I'm confused 100%. So don't know how I feel, but we're gonna keep reading. Maybe it'll make more sense as I read farther on, but I will let you guys know as time progresses. Okay. Alright, guys, a quick update on looking for a 5-star read. So it's been a day, a little over a day, and I did finish Dance of Thieves. I was busy, so I didn't have any time in between to actually sit down and record the video part to talk about my updates on it. But from what I can remember is the beginning, I said it was slow, I was struggling, I was understanding what was going on. And it definitely cleared up as we got through what was going on, why they were doing things that they were doing, what they were both doing to each other to keep secrets. So this is funny because even though they're thieves, I feel like a lot of it is that they just are good at keeping secrets from each other. So Cassie does go to Jace's place. There is a part where I remember someone telling me this is kind of found family, and it kind of is, because not only did Cassie have her friends and the rest of the guards kind of as family, but when she goes to Jace's not kingdom, but his home, he kind of has it where she meets his family and stuff. So there is that. So I did like that. I like the banter back and forth, but I also think it's hilarious that they both were kind of keeping secrets from each other for different reasons. I will say I gave this only a 4-star. I think it was just a straight 4, because I will say the one thing that is confusing is that again, they kept secrets from each other, but they were mad at each other for the last several chapters, and then all of a sudden at the end they're cool with each other and they're okay and they're happy and lovey-dovey. Makes no sense to me because of how angry they were. And in a way, you can see kind of Jace when he's angry, kind of his anger turning away from Cassie and more towards the other people. But it's one of those things where it's it didn't feel, I guess, realistic for them to go from hating each other to then back to caring for each other, if you know what I mean. I know there's a second book and it kind of ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger, so I am curious about that. So maybe the second one might be better. I don't know. I can't get the second one yet. I believe it's on hold, or I'll have to put a hold on it. So this one wasn't it. But I did end up going and starting this one, which was called No One Left to Come Looking for You. This is by, Sam LiQWYD. This is one of those books where I was it's a random kind of book. And I don't mind random books because sometimes they are good and some stuff, right? So this is a random one. It's a little short book, and it's about this guy named Jonathan who goes by Jack. He's part of this grunge rock band, and one of his bandmates takes his guitar and is basically trying to sell it for illicit substances. And so he's going to have to go find his bandmate so he can get his guitar because they have a gig coming up that he thinks is going to be their big moment. But other stuff's going on and happening, and it's supposed to get crazy and wild. I am only on chapter 3. I'm using an empty envelope for my bookmark. And so far it's not bad, but I'm like, again, I think I'm confused. And I don't know. Sometimes I think it's because when I go to a different book, it's like I have to readjust my thinking to it and stuff. But this one too, I think it's also because it's set, by the way, in 1993 in New York. And I was only 2 at that time. So it's kind of like old school in a bit. So I'm curious how that might be, and like the lingo and like different stuff. So that's what's going on right now. The Jack guy only just woke up and found out about his guitar getting taken from his bandmate, and he's trying to find him and figure out where he went, and he's talking about becoming a part of the band and why he picked this and like how he met the guy and all that. So it's, again, it's kind of slow, it's kind of building, but I am curious about it. If I remember correctly, this is a literary fiction that's supposed to be comedy and stuff. So again, it's kind of outside my norm. Like I said, I wanted to try something different. So we'll see how this goes. But like I said, right now, I'm just a few chapters in, and I'm still figuring out what's going on. So I will let you guys know when I get farther along. So, bye. Alright, so this is going to be an awkward angle, awkward lights, awkward everything. I'm at the car waiting for my kid to pick up, and I figured my other kid, my son, is asleep. One is at her grandparents' already, and I'm waiting to pick up the last one. But I figured this is a good time to give a quick update about the book, No One Left to Come Looking for You. I will say that that book was the probably weirdest book I have read ever. I think I mentioned he's looking for his roommate slash bandmate who took his guitar. And it's just one of those things where, I don't know, all of it was just weird, random, like kind of disgusting in a way for some of the stuff. And like, I looked at this book too, and like I said, apparently it's a literary fiction. It's like thriller. Apparently, it got marked on Fable, which is weird. It's so weird, and so I honestly gave that a 2-star. And like I said, I was curious. The whole thing is that I was just curious about what happened to the bandmate, and I was like, they have to end it with that. So that's why I kept pushing through it. I was like, it has to have that. And I'm very curious about like what the motive of his disappearance and all that had to do. So finished that. And then yesterday was a busy, hectic day where I was just all over the place. So I didn't get much time, but I decided to try Curious Tides by Pascal Lessel. Pascali Lessel? I might be saying that name wrong. But I thought to do that book. It's really pretty and stuff. And I did zero looking into what it is about, because I was like, maybe the best way to find a 5-star is to just jump into it blind and stuff. But I love how I picked another basically 500-page book. And so far, I'm only like 8, maybe 10 pages in. And some of it, I'm like, okay, it's not bad, but I'm so confused. It's just starting. And I know right now, all I know for sure is that there's different phases of the moon. And like, depending on, I think, when you're born and stuff, you have a drop of magic. And some people, everyone has a drop of magic in their blood based off the phase of their moon, but it's people who are actually able to use it. They get to go to this, apparently, academy. And so our main character, I think her name is Emery, has this ability to heal, and she's currently in the process of getting driven to this academy. But it starts off with like some weird thing where basically she gets up off of like a place where she thought she was drowning and finds dead bodies. So I'm confused, I'm curious. It's weird, it's interesting. So we'll see how this goes. But basically, yeah, I don't know what it's turning out to be. We'll see how it goes. I'm losing a little bit of hope already on finding a 5-star with how many books I've read in the month of January, plus these ones that I'm currently reading. So we will see, and I will keep you guys updated as I progress with this book, since it is a big chunkers, and hopefully we'll see if it gets better in time. So, see ya. Alright, guys, it's time for an update. So, I am still currently reading Curious Tides. I am honestly not that far in. I am on page 75, chapter 5. It is a pretty thick book, and this one is a little dense in understanding. I don't remember if I mentioned that it's talking about like different magic that one gets based not only on the lunar phase that they were born under, but also the tides, rising and waning tide, so the sea. And so it's very confusing in trying to understand that. And then it was kind of already getting dark because, in my impression, I thought the Emery girl was just starting the college and that's why she was nervous. And then you find out that no, the reason she's nervous is that there was a really bad accident prior, like 4 or 5 months prior, to where she was the only one to have survived. And so she has to come back and she's trying to figure out some stuff. And then in between that, her best friend was one of the people that like didn't survive in this accident. And her best friend's brother is there and he's trying to figure out some stuff. And so it is dual POV between Emery and then the brother named Baz. And so there's some interesting stuff with this. It's just, one, it's a little dark, and two, it's a little dense. So I am still reading this. But also, to keep you guys updated, I did also start Apprentice to the Villain, which is book 2 from Assistant to the Villain. I wanted something also a little bit lighter and funner. So I'm not saying that this one's bad. This one is still good. This one's still a contender for 5 stars. But I also wanted this because I did want to read this anyways because of where Assistant to the Villain ended. And it is still possible that it could be a 5-star. I know Assistant to the Villain was pretty good. I don't remember exactly the ranking I gave it. I will probably post it when I edit this. But it was pretty good. So, this is also a contender, but I am still reading this one as well. So, still reading both. Still looking for a 5-star. Still haven't found one yet. Like I said, this one's thick, this one's dense, but I'm still thinking that it might get easier to understand, it might get more interesting and stuff. It kind of already has from when I last updated you, because it was kind of harder to understand and it was dragging and it was like long chapters, but it is getting more interesting and a little more easier, but there's still so much that I think is going to go on with this, that like I said, I had to kind of get one to kind of not be as dense, not as hard, not as difficult, but still fun and interesting. So I am reading both of these at the same time. Like I said, I will still keep you updated on my thoughts on both of these as I read them, and if one of these will turn out to be my first 5-star of 2026. So I will let you guys know as we go what is going on, and if not, like I said, if I read a different book once I finish one, if not both of these, if they aren't 5 stars, but I'll let you know. So now I'm blabbing. Now I'm not stopping. So I'll let you guys know on the next video. Bye. Hello, guys. It's been a few days. My family and I have been sick with the lovely joy of a stomach bug virus that has just wiped us, drained us. It was exhausting. But I started feeling better finally, And I did, in fact, finish Apprentice to the Villain. And I haven't quite figured out how I want to rate it. Like, I really enjoyed it. I was laughing, I was giggling, I was like, oh my gosh, which in my mind warrants a 5 star. And I also kind of annotated it because there was a couple parts where I was like, that's important to know. Because again, it still kind of leaves a little bit on a cliffhanger, not as bad as the first one, but there's still more that is to be done and needs to be done. So I don't know 100% what I want to rate it, but I was enjoying it. I was having a good time. The one line that I did annotate real quick, um, the villain tells his assistant. I don't know if at this point she was marked as the apprentice yet. I don't think so, but she's the assistant to the villain, and he says, "Sage, I fear your lack of equilibrium is catching on." And she says, "I do not lack equilibrium. The ground merely lacks the courtesy of letting me know when it is coming closer." And as someone who comes from a family full of klutz, anytime there's like a line or something that talks about tripping that is kind of funny, I remember it because it's just so good in that way. So I marked that, and I marked one other thing. I think I probably would have marked more if I had thought about it in the beginning, but I didn't. But as soon as I read that line, I was like, I want to remember that line. And since it is my copy, it makes it a lot easier than versus when it's a library copy and I don't actually physically own it. So that made me laugh. But like I said, I don't know. It is definitely at least going to be either a 4.5, maybe a 5. But I don't know. I'm debating because there's some stuff where I don't know. There's something that's making me hold back a little bit. And that's the part where it makes it where I'm kind of doubting it's a 5 stars because there's something that makes it where, in a way, I want to give it, but then in a way, I'm like hesitant to give it because I'm like, was it really a 5 star? Or am I just trying to give something a 5 star to give it a 5 star and like hit this 5 star quality? So I don't know. So I'm still debating on that. And I am still reading Curious Tides. This one is taking a lot longer to get through, but obviously, too, I just recently got better. And this one, like I said, I was soaring through, enjoying myself, no problem, which again makes me feel like I should give it a 5 star. Whereas this one, I'm trudging through, struggling, having a difficult time. So I don't know. I will let you guys know what I gave Apprentice to the Villain the next time I update, I think. But I don't know. I'm struggling a little bit with Curious Tides and all that just because there's a lot of lore, I think, being packed into this one book to kind of build up to what was the conflict and the mystery and the like aspect of what's going on for it. And we're already over 100 pages and it's still kind of building up, but it's doing it a little slowly, which is what is kind of dragging me along. Whereas this was already fast paced, witty, and like, again, it's breaking it up to where not everything is in one book, but there's like sections and stuff. So I don't know. I'm going to stop talking, but I will let you guys know what I think of Curious Tides and what I rate Apprentice to the Villain in the end. And we will see if this ends with Apprentice to the Villains or if I'm going to keep going with Curious Tides and possibly another book. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So, let you know next time. Alright, guys, quick update to let you know that I did decide finally on what rating I wanted to give. I just said it too, and it went away. Apprentice to the Villain. I'm gonna mess up that word. I keep wanting to say Accomplice, which is the third book, but I finally decided what to give Apprentice to the Villain, and I am gonna give it a 5 star. I keep thinking about all the funny things and silly parts, and like I said, I did put little tabs in it to show what ones are my favorite things, and I can't wait to like read the next one in the book to keep going and like seeing the different perspectives of all the people in the story, because it's not just the villain and Evie, it's other people actually associated in the story. So I gave that one a 5-star. Can't wait to read the next one sooner or later. And then I am still going to continue Curious Tides. It's just going to be in the background right now. So if you want to know the rating and everything on that, you can either A, wait until I post my February reading wrap up, or B, follow me on my socials, mostly like Fable or Goodreads. Goodreads, I just do the star rating. I don't give any explanation, and because since I don't have the 0.25 or 0.5s, it's not 100% accurate sometimes. Fable is where I can do 0.25s, 0.5s, 0.75s, all that, and then I always give like a little blurb or a little idea of like what I felt and thought. And of course, when I do wrap-ups, sometimes I go a little too in depth, so it just depends on what you want to see. But we finally have our first 5-star of 2026 with a apprentice to the villain. I keep wanting to say the other one and stuff. So let me know, what was your first 5-star of 2026? Have you found your first 5-star, or are you still searching? And then make sure that if you guys like this, you keep continuing to like, follow, subscribe, comment. Like I said, I am going to continue to try to post every Thursday. So make sure that if you want to continue to watch it, that you subscribe so you can see it. And I gotta go. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.